Welcome all the students of class 10, parents, teachers and other viewers. You are now in the social studies class. We have a student with us in the studio. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Rahul. I'm from Mothers International School, New Delhi.
Thank you. You are aware that social science constitutes many subjects: history, geography, economics, political science, sociology and many others. Among all the social sciences, economics is an important subject and also interesting subject. This subject is introduced from class 6 onwards in rudimentary form. Some simple economic concepts which we come across in our daily lives are introduced in class 9th and 10th. In previous sessions, we discussed about and we also familiarized you about development, what is development, how development is measured and some of the important development indicators. Today we are going to have discussion on a common, an important topic called gross domestic product. What are the discussion points today? We are going to expand the discussion of the previous chapter, that how income is used as an indicator of a country's performance. You know that in the previous lessons, you talked about, you discussed about the table, how to interpret a table, how to read a table. Today we are going to go little beyond. We are going to see bar diagrams, pie diagrams, how they can be read as a student, so that we develop the analytical skills. In higher secondary stage or in secondary stage, we need to develop important skills, analytical skills, so that we can understand the society, we can understand the data. We are also going to understand important skill called classification skills. When you are classifying something, when you are visualizing, seeing many things, you have to learn to classify one. So this is an important skill which we have to get familiarized today. We are also interdependent. Okay, there are many sectors, many activities going on in the country. So we are going to talk about this interdependency of us, how we are depending on each other. Then one important economic concepts which you are going to study not only from this year onwards till you complete your career, or even if you are joining a job market, you are going to come across this term called gross domestic product. So we are going to understand some simple way how what is this concept of gross domestic product. Okay, and we also give you some illustrative example. And before I start explanation, let me give you a simple activity. So what you do, imagine that you are in the house right now, and you just identify, list some 20 to 25 items that are there in your house. I'll give you 2 minutes time, and just list them out and make a classification. So can you do that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Let us take 1 minute time. Just list out all the items in your house. You can just look around and list those items. Rahul, I'm sure you must have made a list of it. Can you just read out the items that you have noted in your house? Just read one by one slowly.
Books, chairs, television, doors, clock, pen, refrigerators, bed, photos, bag, rice, wheat, soap, detergent, slippers, wires, bulb, tube light, shirts, t-shirts, etc.
Very good. So you can use some criteria to classify those items. I'm sure you must have done some classifications. Can you share some of what are the classification you were able to make?
Okay. So books that we have that are from paper and from woods. Chairs,
so the wood-based materials, that is one classification. What are the other classifications you made?
Television that are plastic and metals. Clocks, pen, those are a lot of plastics.
So the chemical-based materials, that's the second classification.
Soap, detergent, slippers.
Yeah, so the chemicals, also the second and third category. And you can see like this in your house also, you can discuss with your parents about the list, and then you can also develop your own classification. And when you get time with your teacher, and then please show these items and your classification also. Okay, so generally if you look at the goods that we see here, in this session we are going to classify them on specific criteria so that we will understand the concept of gross domestic product clearly. I'll show you one item. Generally, the goods can be classified on the basis of the production process, how it is produced, or at what stage of the production process it is there. I'll show you one example. You can see this is wheat. Okay, the wheat is the basic food grain produced by the farmers. Okay, when it is used by people, who are all people, like we are all using as a food grain in our house. So the bakers, they use The hotel people, in order to make rotis, they use. The biscuit companies, they use. For all of them, this commodity is raw material. Okay? So the first classification, when it comes to the nature of the use in the production process, the first stage it is coming to those producers. So that is why it is called raw materials. The second category is intermediate goods. So if you look at intermediate goods, for example, the same wheat, when it goes to a baker, for a baker, flour is an intermediate good. Okay, it is not a final good. Okay, it is intermediate good. It is not yet ready. Okay, from wheat it goes to flour. Okay, so this commodity which is used in the production process to make the final goods, that is coming under the intermediate goods. The final one is that, for example, bread. We all buy bread from the shop. If you look at, so this is a final goods. Okay, all the goods that reach finally at the destination of the consumer is called final goods. Okay, you can see that bread. Okay, so in this way, commodities can be classified into three categories. Okay, those goods which are at the first level, it's called raw materials, and those who are in the middle stage of the production processes, they are called intermediate goods, and the final stage, it reaches the consumers, the users, final users, that becomes the final goods. Okay, and then similarly, you can also classify goods on the basis of the nature of the production process. Okay, what is this nature of the production process? Generally, economic activities, we are all working. For example, I am working here as a teacher educator, and my colleagues are working in the studio, and many people are engaged in different economic activities. Okay, these economic activities, on the basis of the goods and services they produce, they can be grouped into, those economic activities can be grouped into three. What are they? Primary, secondary, and tertiary. Okay, these are one classification. There are many number of classifications, but this is one fundamental classification generally economies or governments make actually. What is this primary, secondary, and tertiary? How it is produced?
From the farms, from the fields.
Very good. So it is cultivated, it is harvested, the farmers produce by using the nature.
Yes.
Okay, and by using some simple raw materials and mainly by the nature. Okay, yes. So whenever any goods are produced from the nature, land or the earth, mainly, you may be putting other raw materials like fertilizers, seeds, so on. But if you produce from the nature, if you extract from nature, all those economic activities are called primary sector. Okay, they can be considered as primary sector. If you go to higher classes, you will come to know this is called agriculture and adult activities. And for example, the mining, you extract iron ore. Okay, that is also primary activity because you are extracting from the nature. Okay, this is the primary sector commodity. What is the secondary sector commodity? Let me give you another example. Two examples I have here. So what is this? This is a wheat flour. Okay, this is the wheat flour. So wheat flour is made in where? Factories. Okay, you use the primary commodity of wheat and make it into flour by using the machinery.
Yes.
Okay, so when you are just changing from one farm to other farm by the machineries, it becomes the secondary sector. It is also considered as manufacturing sector. Okay, but not it is more than manufacturing sector. So converting from a natural product to the other forms, all other forms, that is coming under the secondary sector. What is this? This is the sugar. Okay, the sugar is, you get sugar from where?
Sugarcane.
Sugarcane from the fields. So the farmers bring the sugarcane from the fields and then they bring it to the sugar mill, and then many chemicals are used to come out with the sugar. Okay, these two products are the products from the secondary sector. Okay, let me tell you, the secondary sector could be in many ways. For example, not only one stage, it can go to 2 stage, 3 stage, 4 stage, 5 stage. For example, if you look at iron ore is extracted from the primary sector, but it may be made into plates, it may be big steel plates, big iron rods, it can go to many other processes. For example, the studio materials, the metal based iron materials are here coming under different processes actually. Okay, different stages it must have come across. Okay, so in all those stages some kind of factory based activities taking place, changing forms. Okay, they change different forms actually. Okay, so that comes under the secondary sector. third category of activity comes under the tertiary sector. The tertiary sector activities are all those activities which are supporting the primary sector and tertiary secondary sector. Okay. For example, let us take an example of transport. For example, how did you come? You must have come by a bus. Okay, so the bus is a part of the transport sector. And farmers, let us take this example of the wheat. Okay, wheat, in order to come from the his field, farmer's field or a field, to the market, you have to use transport.
Yeah.
So all those, this is an example of the tertiary sector. All those activities which are supporting. For example, if without banks, how you can exchange your products? Okay, money is used as a minimum exchange. So banks are required actually.
Yes.
So many financial activities are supporting the primary and secondary sector. Then another category also, that all those activities which are helping in the distribution of goods. For example, public distribution system. During this corona regime, public distribution system plays a very crucial role, distributing food grains which are collected, kept in the Food Corporation of India to the people. Okay, all those distribution activities are also part of, for example, markets. All the shops, mandis that you are seeing, the retail shops, also wholesalers, distributors, they are all coming under the service sector activity because they help in the distribution of goods and services. And thirdly, for example, there are police forces, many people are protecting us, from doctors, all of those who are protecting us, help us in living this life. They are also coming under the service sector. And there are some activities which are independent. For example, entertainment. We go to cinema theater, we go to see different places. So they are also now emerging. They are also coming under the term called service sector. Service sector is also called as service activities. Okay, since they are part of the seva, so it is also called as service sector. Then now we have come to understanding that there are all the economic activities can be classified into three. Okay, and what is this term called GDP? The gross domestic product is all the total value of goods and services produced in all the three sectors.
Okay.
All the final goods and the services produced in a country in a particular year, 12 months. It is called gross domestic product.
Okay.
Okay. Final goods means, what is this final good? I already told you, sugar before reaching the consumer. When at the point of the consumer, it is a final good.
Yeah.
Okay. So the value of the final goods only is estimated. Okay. To come to the concept of gross domestic product. I'll tell you more example of this actually. Okay. And generally, the gross domestic product is estimated in different ways, mainly by the value added method. I am going to explain what is this value added method. And then second method is called income or expenditure method. For example, income and expenditure means all the people's incomes. For example, your parents may be earning, or like all the people here working here, they are also earning, I am also earning. All the earnings, all the incomes of the people from different production of goods and services, if you add them, they will, that is also one way of calculating. But it is not that easy to calculate. So because of this, the people, like the planners all over in the world, they are following another method called value added method.
Okay.
What is this value added method? I am going to show. But before that, you also have to keep in mind that GDP means gross domestic product, means all the value of goods and services produced in a country. Okay, it is not to do with the assets. Okay, the assets held by the people. Many people may be here, they may be accumulating assets, but they are not GDP. They are not part of this GDP. Okay, it is a value expressed in money terms. Okay, so it is not the counting. Okay, and it is also not money. For example, many people having money. So if you put all the money together, you may think that could this be GDP? No. If that is the case, the government can print simply notes and then say that I become rich. Okay. So it's not that easy. It's not a money that is people keep in their hands. It is the production of goods and services, the productive capacity. Okay, so that is why the productive capacity increase is an important component for improving our livelihoods. Okay, so the assets is not component of GDP, and whatever the money people hold in their pocket is not GDP. Okay, how GDP is estimated? Okay, I told you this is how you can measure it. You can measure it in the form of weight, how many kilograms. Okay. But if you want to estimate GDP, please keep in mind GDP is an estimate. It's not absolute number. It's not finite number. Okay, 2 plus 2 equal to 4. That is a finite number. Whereas in GDP, you are accumulating, collecting all the details, and you are making an estimate, a rough estimate. Okay, so this can be maybe 100 gram, 200 gram. Okay, but its value is always expressed in the form of money. Okay, it's in the form of how many kilograms and then how much is the price. Okay, and the price and the quantity, you will get a number, a fixed number. Okay, and sugar also you will get a fixed number. How much rupees worth of sugar. Okay, like that all other commodities also you can get a number actually. So if you ask me how this GDP is estimated, let me give you a simple example. Imagine a country where only 5 goods and services are produced. What are those 5 goods? Rice, pulses, oil, cloth, transport. Okay, so you have some, say, 1,000 kilograms of rice is produced. Suppose rice or wheat actually. Okay, and if every kilo is 25 rupees.
Okay.
So 25 per kilo and 25,000 kilograms, how much it comes to? 25,000. Suppose you produce pulses, harar ki dal, dur dal, and different kind of dal items. Then you are producing 25 kilograms.
Okay.
So that cost 80 rupees per kilo. How much it comes to? 2,000 rupees. Okay. Then oil. How much oil you produce? You produce some 25 liters of oil.
Okay.
Okay. And then every per liter it is costing about 100 rupees, 2,500 rupees oil.
Okay.
Okay. Then cloth. Cloth is measured in terms of meter. The shirt and all the dress that we are wearing. So you get some 100 meters cloth you were able to produce. Okay. So that should be converted into how much per meter? 100 rupees per meter. Let us assume. So 100 into 100, you get 10,000 rupees.
10,000.
Okay. And just transport. How much transport you use or people are using in that country? So they may be using, say, 100 kilometers. Totally 100 kilometers of vehicle they have used actually. So per kilometer they pay 20 rupees for transport charges. So that will run into 2,000 rupees.
Yes.
So can you just estimate how much totally it comes down to? 25,000 plus 2,000, 27,000 plus 2,500, 29,500 plus 10,000 and then 2,000, 41,500. Total value of GDP in that imaginary country where 5 goods and services are produced is 41,500. Okay, the total value. So it is the total value of the final goods. The final goods used at the place of the consumer. Okay. How GDP is estimated? See, now it is in terms of goods, I told you.
Yeah.
Generally, how it is estimated? Because this may be going from farmer to different places and finally it is coming here. Okay. And the wheat also, like wheat flour also, it goes to different stages actually. How generally the statisticians of the country estimate the GDP?
Okay.
I already told you that GDP estimated on the basis of the value added method.
Yeah.
What is this value added method? Let me give you an example of a bread. A bread, that this bread packet is costing 10 rupees. How much price? 10 rupees.
Okay.
Okay. This 10 rupee is the total value of the contribution goes from the bread actually.
Okay.
Okay. But if you come to the value added method, the first stage it comes across is that it is wheat.
Yeah.
Okay. The wheat is sold by the, let us assume that wheat is sold by the farmer for 2 rupees.
Okay.
How much rupee? 2 rupees. Okay. And first stage, the value added by the farmer is 2 rupees.
Okay.
Okay. And then it goes to the miller. I am giving an example of a Shankar. Shankar is a farmer. So he adds the value of wheat. He sells it for rupees 2 rupees.
Okay.
Okay. Then it goes to the hand of a miller, Kuldeep. Kuldeep is a miller in Punjab. He converts into wheat flour.
Okay.
He make it worth of 4 rupees.
Okay.
He bought this for 2 rupees. He put all other raw materials, he put his effort also, he made some profit, and then he sells it for 4 rupees.
Okay.
But when value is added, how much value is added?
2 rupees.
2 rupees plus 2.
Yeah.
2 rupees only he has added.
Yeah.
Because earlier it was already having a value here.
Yeah.
So it is 4 rupees. What is the value added in this stage? Second stage?
2 rupees.
2 rupees. Very good. So third stage, what happened? It goes to the baker.
Okay.
So the baker, what happened? Before going to the retailer, He converts this wheat, uses his machinery, employ laborers, and packet it. Actually, he sells it for 7 rupees. Okay, he sells it for 7 rupees. Okay, how much he has added value?
6.
No, here it is 2 rupees.
Okay.
Here he has added value 2 rupees.
Okay.
From 4 rupees he has added value to 7 rupees.
Okay.
So value addition here is 3 rupees only.
Okay.
Huh? He has converted this wheat into bread, and sells it for 7 rupees. So he has added value of 3 rupees here actually.
Okay.
Then it comes to the retailer. Okay, the retailer, by packing it or by keeping it in a shop, he sells it for 10 rupees. So how much value he added?
7 minus 10, 3.
3. Very good. So this 3 rupees value he has added actually.
Okay.
Okay. So generally what happens? I told you the GDP is the final good, the value of the final goods. Okay. So this 10 rupees is also one way to calculate. There is another way you can calculate. Here how much is the value added?
2.
Just take out your notebook, write down 2. Here how much value he added?
2.
2 plus 2?
4.
4. Here how much he added the value?
7.
So by 7 means how much
Plus
here?
3, plus 3.
Plus 3. From 7 rupees, how much the retailer added value?
3.
How much?
3.
So what is the value additions at all 4 stages? 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 3. 10.
Yeah.
So the 10 rupees was value addition takes place at 4 stages of production process.
Okay.
So either it could be 10 rupees or value addition takes place at every place. Okay. These are the 2 ways you can arrive at the final the GDP. Okay. Value addition takes place at every stage of the production processes is estimated.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how the GDP is estimated in the value added method. Okay. Value addition at each stage of the production processes is calculated. Okay. That's it. Then I'll give you one small activity. Okay, you have to say, just write down your notebook in a separate paper. I'll give you one minute for you also. I'm going to sugar used in the house.
Okay.
Is it a final good or raw material or intermediate good? Just write down quickly.
Okay.
You can write in abbreviated form.
Okay.
Rice used in the hotel, intermediate good or final good or raw material?
Okay.
Third, iron ore used in the steel mill, is it a raw material or intermediate good or final goods? Coal used in a thermal power plant, is it a raw material or intermediate good or final good? 5. Electricity used in the sweet shop, is it a raw material or intermediate good or final good?
Okay.
Electricity used in the house, is it a raw material or intermediate good or final good? Okay, so you can just tell your answer. Sugar used in the house?
Final good.
Very good. Rice used in the hotel?
Intermediate good.
Very good. Iron ore used in the steel mill?
Raw material.
Good. Coal used in the thermal power plant?
Intermediate good.
Good. Electricity used in the sweet shop?
Final good.
Electricity used in the sweet shop?
Intermediate good.
Intermediate, because that's not reaching the final consumer. He uses electricity to produce sweets.
Okay.
Okay. Electricity used in the house?
That is final.
Very good. Okay. So this is how you can classify the goods into 3, and then you can also look at the how value added method is used to arrive at the gross domestic product. Let me give you the definition again, because it is important that goods are identified and separated to estimate GDP. Okay. Generally, when you are estimating GDP, goods are estimated, whether it is value addition takes place. So you have to estimate whether it is a raw material or whether it is intermediate good or either final goods.
Okay.
Okay. And then GDP is the total value of final goods and services produced in a year.
Okay.
Why we are using final goods? Why we are using final goods? Because suppose you are having a 2 rupees here,
Okay.
and then 4 rupees here, and here it is 7 rupees and 10 rupees. Only this has to be added here. If you add all the things, it will come to double counting.
Okay.
2 plus 4 plus 7 plus 10. So it will come to double counting, triple counting. Only one commodity you are producing,
Okay.
but its value you are counting at different places.
Okay.
That is why we are using only final goods. Okay. These final goods, coming under the different value addition takes place.
Okay.
So you get the one number. So in order to avoid double counting or multiple counting, you are estimating, you are using the term final goods. Okay. Then I'll give you another example. Now you have classified the goods. Now one more assessment, and you can answer by tick mark by saying true or false. Doctors working in the hospital is part of the secondary sector. True or false?
False.
Correct. Security staff working in a spinning mill appointed by the mill is a secondary sector worker.
True.
Good. One way to classify all the economic activities is primary, secondary and tertiary. True or false?
True.
Good. Sugar used in a tea shop is a intermediate good.
True.
Very good. Rice cooked in the house is an intermediate good. True or false?
False.
Good. Goods and services produced by Indians working in South Africa is included in the gross domestic product.
False.
Good. Those goods and services produced within the domestic territory only is calculated for GDP. Okay. If it is produced in South Africa, it is not part of the GDP of India. All three kinds of goods and services are included in the to estimate GDP. True or false?
True.
Good. Value added method is used to estimate GDP from primary and secondary sectors. True. This is a very tricky question. See, value addition is possible only in the case of goods that are visible. Okay. In case of service sector, for example, the value addition may not be of much useful actually. Okay. So generally, the value addition added method used mainly for the primary sector and secondary sector.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rahul. You have answered almost all the questions with regard to the what is meant by a sector, how goods can be classified into three in terms of raw materials, intermediate goods and final goods. We also come to know that how the value added method is used to estimate gross domestic product. Thank you very much. In the next section, we will discuss about what is happening to the GDP of countries, how GDP is examined, okay, how it is connected to employment. In these issues will be taken up in the next session. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rahul, for coming to the studio.
Sir.